shirt.
Welcome back to Rich Lessons podcast with Sevetri and Sheena. We are excited to head into March. For us, this has been a journey thus far. I know it has for me. I'm sure it has for you, Sheena. As we always say, we appreciate everyone for your support, for your encouragements, for your comments, all the things. This episode, we want to focus more on giving an update of what we've been up to. We're going to talk a little bit about what we're watching, things we might be watching, personal, professional updates. Yeah, let's get into it. So, Sheena, you have some updates for us, whether it be personal, professional.
My first update is like just shout out to my besties, Lakita and Ariel. Because when I tell you this morning, they text me like 6 a.m. and they was like, oh, we just finished listening to the last episode. And they clowned me because they was like, you are not an introvert. So if you have not listened to episode 7, please do. It's about power networking. And in it, we have a conversation about being introverts. And so my besties clowned me this morning at 6 a.m. because they were like, you are not an introvert. And I was like, it's because I've known y'all for 20 years. So you don't get it. But so that's my update.
Well, what is it called? An ambivert? If you're like both? Yeah. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Well, I am definitely an introvert, and I tell people that, and they're like, they kind of don't believe me. And then they say, okay, I kind of believe you. But, your closest friends, y'all don't count. You don't get to weigh in on this subject.
And it's also, I think part of it is, and we're talking about going into March. March, we're both Pisces. It is Pisces season. I don't know. I'm also like just an astrology person. So they say that Pisces are very nonchalant. And so I don't know, maybe that's also just part of it because we're just kind of like, okay. Because you're probably one of the most chill, just like, true story, guys. Sevetri and I were in LA for the NCAA awards, NAACP awards.
Mm-hmm.
Not this year. Was it last year?
Last year.
And the door, somebody knocks on the door, and it's like this huge thing of flowers. I mean, absolutely beautiful. And it's for Sevetri. And I'm just like, why is, mind you, her husband is absolutely amazing. I'm like, why is Austin randomly sending you flowers? And she's like, oh, today's my birthday. Never came. Like, never said a word, never made a big deal about it. And it was like, today's my birthday. So
yeah. That I am definitely a very nonchalant person. It takes a lot to get me excited about something. I'm just chill, I go with the flow. Certain things can get me worked up, but it does take a lot to get me like worked up and even like to come out of my character or anything like that. So, I like my chill persona.
And it's crazy because everybody who gives me feedback, even personal feedback, are people that I don't know who gives feedback. They're always like, oh, you guys have good chemistry. Y'all feed off of each other. And I was like, it's probably because we had way too much in common. Probably it's like Southern women, Pisces, and it's just, we're both super chill. Like, we're both super private, which is, again, let's do this podcast, the funniest thing ever. But yeah, that's...
Here we are.
Here we are.
Okay, so personal, professional updates. What can you share? What's on your mind? What are you thinking about right now?
This is kind of personal and professional. Of course, I took off like a year and a half when CapWay shut down. Probably the first part of it, as I mentioned, probably on episode 1, was just me figuring life out. Me actually being in a depression, not realizing I was in a depression. So here in 2025, it is like finally feeling like I'm getting back to myself. So building businesses, traveling more, which the traveling piece is still a little scary for me because of what's going on right now. So I feel like I'm trying to be John Madden. So for those who don't know, John Madden would not get on a plane. He actually had a tour bus and he would just travel everywhere by bus.
How is that even possible today? I guess it is technically possible, but That's
So
kind of
that
hard.
I'm like, how did he do it? Because I might want to go that route because the planes are scaring me. Which you've been on the plane like 10 times since then. But anyway, because I feel like he's like whatever. But I'm back traveling, back doing more speaking engagements, back doing more content. I just feel like in general I'm getting back to myself. And I actually made a comment on Threads, and I said I feel like I'm in a transition phase, but like a positive transition phase because 2023 was rough. 2024, I do feel like I started to lay a new, but very much more of a solid foundation. And then 2025 is me actually taking the opportunities that are at hand. So my personal, my professional, kind of hand in hand. It's just like 2025 getting back to who I feel like is myself, or a new Sheena, but even a better Sheena. So, what's your
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm with you on that. I am, and I'm sure you are too, dibbling dabbling in different things, seeing like what's going to stick, what's going to work. Um, Definitely back in that creative space where I get to like build and not have like the pressure of whether that be from investors or a board or whatever it is. Will I always be here? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what the future brings, but I am in a space now where I'm kind of experimenting and I'm okay to say, oh, that didn't work or that did work. Let's move forward. Like, let's put the your foot on the pedal and like really break the gas or go full speed ahead. And so that's kind of the space that I am in right now. I'm headed to Cape Town. And so by the time not this episode or next, but the following one, I'll talk a little bit about my experience in Cape Town. I am a part of this fellowship called the Henry Crown Fellows, which is a part of Aspen Institute. And so one of the trips that we take is like a globalization seminar. That's why when you said, oh, the planes, I said, well, how are you going to get to South Africa? How are we going to get over there if we can't get on a plane? So I will be taking that 23-hour flight. I think it's like I have to fly from New Orleans to Atlanta to Cape Town on this trip and then back. But I'm there for like 12 days. And so I'm really excited about that. I've never been to South Africa, which is crazy to even think. And so I'm looking to explore. For those of you who are listening to this, definitely come drop any of your tips, your favorite restaurants, any suggestions, because I will be listening. By the time you hear this, I will be over there. So let me know, let your girl know what I should be doing while I'm in South Africa.
Yeah, I went to Cape Town October, October of last year. Absolutely beautiful. But I was only there for a few days. So if I was to go back, which I plan to go back 100%, I would definitely want to stay at minimum 1 week. But it is absolutely beautiful. You're going to love it. Like, absolutely love
Yeah. And we are. So the fellowship portion is like Monday through Friday. And then I'm actually going to stay a few more days to just like, do some sightseeing and go to different restaurants. But again, I'm open for suggestions. I will be away from my TV and, I am watching a few different shows right now. What has me in the chokehold is Paradise with Sterling K. Brown. Are you watching this?
it. You keep I Savitra's been telling me about this show, y'all, for like weeks. And all of a sudden, like in the last 2 or 3 days, it's on my timeline nonstop. I don't know if it's because of the last episode or what, but I promise you, like, it is all down my timeline. And so I actually started watching it last night, and it is actually really good. I have no clue what the heck is going on, so don't tell me like what's going on right now because I'm only on episode 2. But it is actually a really good show, and it's because I'm not really a TV watcher. Like, give me some music, and I'm good. So I don't really watch TV, but it's actually a really good show. So I'm excited. It's everything you said so far. Great, amazing acting.
So
Absolutely top tier.
this show has everyone like locked in. Welcome Sheena to the group of people of humanity that's locked into Paradise. You can't even be on like Threads or anything right now without seeing somebody tweeting about Paradise. I won't give it away, but I'll say what you already know, and that is the world basically, as we know it, ended, right? And so what is so crazy about it is that this show is coming out during the climate that we're in. And so you have, a very interesting character that is running the US right now. But it's this idea that, the billionaires will basically run the world, right? And they will only care about themselves, they will only look out for themselves. And right now, in real time in the US, we are all saying that. And then boom, Paradise comes on, and it's like enacting the future of what that really means to like look out for yourself and not care about anyone else in society, because the billionaires made it, as we all know in reality today, that the billionaires going to be all right. Yeah. Paradise also affirmed that the billionaires are going to be all right. Okay. And so a lot of things that is happening inside of that show is crazy. I was telling someone that there are a couple of shows right now, and you're not a big TV watcher, Sheena. That's something that we actually don't have in common. I am a movies girl. I'm a TV show girl. I could probably start a whole page and review TV shows and movies because that's how big of a fan I am of like cinema and so on. And so so if you ever need something to watch, on a long flight, call me. But some other things I'm watching is like Severance. So Severance, it's such a good show, but you got to pay it. You got to be locked in. You cannot be on your phone. You cannot be distracted. You cannot be on your computer. And then also Silo, which was like a really big hit. And so I tell people, we think about like the future, and if what happened in Paradise really does happen, the order of those shows that will be like real time would be Paradise would happen first. Severance would happen first, because if you know the disassociation that is kind of talked about in Severance. And to give you a little feedback on Severance, Severance is essentially a show about people who can essentially sever their personalities. And they have a job. They go to this job, but as soon as they walk through the door, they become a different person. And so they are disassociated with the person back at their home and back in their real life.
AKA
what?
Like code switching?
Not code switching, like literally a whole new person. So the person back at home, so say if you were to walk inside your job tomorrow, and as soon as you open up the elevator, you become a different person. You're still yourself body wise, right? And maybe even a little bit personality wise, but you are completely focused on that job. And so your whole personality is around that job. There's no distractions from your dad, your mom, your nephew. No one can contact you or reach you from the outside. When you're there for 8 hours, you are completely tuned into that job, right? That's what Severance is about. But then as soon as you leave out the elevator to go home for the day, you go back into your day-to-day self, right? The self that your cousins, your mom, your dad know, and you remember nothing that you did on the job. So that's why it's called Severance. Because it's like severance.
Now you got me want to actually go watch this. What is this on?
You gotta watch it though. You gotta watch it. So anybody out there watching Severance, let me know. Silo is also like one of those, the world has blown up and now we're trying to live with the rest of the people that have made it through. All of these shows, I like thrillers. I like futuristic shows that's like, what if the world ended? And so you already know I'm locked in to these top.
So what do you watch these shows? Because Paradise is Hulu. Where is
what are your thoughts with all the subscription services? Do you have them all, or you're like, no, I don't even like TV like that?
You know, I have them all, but it's actually not necessarily for me because I don't really watch TV like that, as you know. So I have like Netflix, but I have like the family plan because Lord knows trying to get my dad set up with Netflix was just, I was like, you know what, I just use mine. So my brother and my dad, everybody use my Netflix. I won't lie, I have like 6 or 7 subscriptions, but I'm over it.
Okay. Oh, of different
Different ones. It's like I have
streaming services.
Netflix, Peacock, Paramount, Prime. I'm sure I'm missing some, but way too many to not watch
So
TV.
essentially, you don't like shows, but we won't catch you slipping, is what you're telling me.
So like right now, I'm like, okay, where do I go watch this show at? Because it sounds like something that's interesting. I think the craziest thing though is the fact that I actually love the art of cinema. So for those who don't know, film was one of my majors
Mm-hmm.
because I just love it. But it's more so like, first off, I will say this: my friends hate watching TV with me. If it's like a new movie, because I'm going to tell them exactly what's going to happen. It could be both of our very first time watching this show. But because I know I majored in it, I know how it works, I know how the setup is, I'm like, oh, these 4 things are going to happen. And then it happens, and they're looking at me like, you've seen this already, right? And I'm like, no. So I love the art of cinema. But just sit and watch TV, I don't know. It's just like,
Yeah, I love it. I love the storytelling. I love the acting, like all of it. But yeah, so Apple TV, Severance is on Apple TV, I believe, and Silo also is on Apple TV. And then, of course, Paradise is on Hulu. And I'm a victim to all the streaming services,
how many
right?
do you have? Go ahead and tell us. How
I
many
mean, all of
do
them.
you?
I think you named the big ones, right?
Yeah.
And so also other streaming services like Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
they have essentially, I guess, bought or acquired other streaming services, right? And so you go to Amazon Prime and you can watch like Paramount, you can watch MGM Plus, and so you just got to know where to find them all. But I am
Really surprised at the fact I guarantee you, even my besties are probably going to hit me up after this and be like, I cannot believe you are paying for that many subscriptions. Because to know me, I can have $10 billion in the bank, and I'm like, that's $3.
a subscription. $9.99, gotta go.
I am beyond frugal. I'm not cheap, but I am extremely frugal. So I'm sure my friends will listen to this and be like, you're paying for it.
All these subscriptions that you're not watching.
I know. So I mean, now that I think about it, I'm surprised I'm even paying for it because I am like beyond frugal. So, but I have a lot of subscriptions. I need to go check some. I am going to go check out some of those shows. I'm back traveling a lot, so maybe that will be something I can watch on the plane to attempt to keep my mind off of it. Although, as you know, I actually hate flying even prior to all this that was happening. So I actually stay up the entire night before a flight to try to make myself sleep on the flight.
Which is
But
crazy to me. But I remember you were coming to New Orleans for my birthday or something, and y'all, it was like drizzling. And she was like, girl, I don't know, I might have to take a different flight. It was just like, it wasn't even bad weather. It was like a little bit of a drizzle, maybe a quick downpour. And Sheena still was like, oh, girl, I might have to get it on another flight. So you are definitely one of those people that have
that came either earlier or later. I don't know. What's the Jay-Z lyric? Something about change the forecast. Like, I'm telling you, I will take a flight. I will change a whole different day flight. If
Yeah.
it's like tomorrow and I don't have to be there till like Monday, I'm switching till tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not flying. Although now you have what they call clear turbulence, where like it's completely not a cloud in the sky and yet you're still hitting turbulence. But I'm gonna take my chance on it being sunny and clear versus flying through a storm. It's my anxiety.
Well, they say that you're more likely to get in a wreck on the road than in the sky. So I hope that you have no issues ever in your lifetime with flights.
Well, I mean, I think it's a control thing, honestly, overall. I feel like on the road I'm driving. So like I can control it, which technically you can't because you don't control other drivers. I don't know. It's a thing.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Now, here in New Orleans, we're actually in the middle of Mardi Gras. As you can see, I have my Mardi Gras. It's carnival time in New Orleans. So, representing for St. Aug Marching 100 Band. I will actually miss Mardi Gras weekend. So, we call this Deep Gras. And that is the time that's like a few days before Fat Tuesday, which is like Tuesday of Mardi Gras. And so I'm going to miss Saturday night Endymion, Sunday night Bacchus, Monday night, which is Lundi Gras, and Tuesday, which of course is Fat Tuesday. The weather's going to be so good. So for those who are going to get to enjoy Mardi Gras, definitely throw me something, hold me something, give me a coconut. For those who have never experienced Mardi Gras, I always tell people
Coconut.
a coconut from Sheena. The fact that you live so close and that you just ate king cake, you don't know what a coconut is. This is blasphemous.
Shout out to Sevetri, because on our last episode, we opened it up talking about the fact that I've never had king cake. And Sevetri said, I know you're coming to New Orleans. I'm going to get you a king cake. Shout out to Sevetri, because she gave me my very first king cake. And it was absolutely amazing, by the way, y'all. Like, it was absolutely amazing.
What does it taste like? It kind of tastes like a cinnamon roll, right?
It tastes, I was going to say, it literally tastes like cinnamon roll with like a little extra sweetness of it's like icing on it. But it was actually really good. Very first king cake. Shout out to my co-host. I appreciate you.
You know, I had to hook you up and now we got to get you a coconut.
Coconut, I'm lost.
Yeah, so if I were to do Mardi Gras, I'd never been, I would come to New Orleans on Thursday just to prepare for the weekend of activities. So you come on Thursday, you get your mind right. On Friday, you do a good like festive brunch or lunch. Then you go get your makeup done, your hair done, whatever you need to get done. Then we go into Zulu Ball. So Zulu Ball is that night. It's a good time. You know, you have to experience it to really understand Zulu Ball. But, you know, people can bring in their own food. So you might see Black folks walking with coolers and food in their hands, or you can get it catered, which now when we first started going to Zulu, we used to be those people dragging coolers in our gowns, but now we get it catered so we don't have to do that. And it's just a good time. You have artists and performances. It goes to like 3 o'clock in the morning. It used to go to 5 o'clock in the morning, but they then started wrapping it up a little bit early because I'm guessing the convention center is trying to kick them out so they can prepare for the next event. And then, you know, you get up Saturday, you go to lunch, then you go head to Endymion. Endymion is always a good time. There's also Endymion Ball. Sunday is my favorite parade, one of my favorite parades, which is Bacchus. I throw usually a party with some friends at the house for Bacchus. We call it our Bacchus brunch. Then you go to the Bacchus parade, which we live in walking distance. This year, Shaquille O'Neal is actually the king of Bacchus. And he is leading the first float as king. Now, Shaq is so big that they had to essentially build him like a custom float. They had to get another chair because he couldn't fit in the chair. They had to take off the top because his head was going to hit the roof. All these different things. And then Monday is Lundi Gras. That's usually when I go get some crawfish and I stay at the house. I don't really go parades. And then Tuesday, you get up at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning and then you head to Zulu because Zulu starts at 8 a.m. and that's where you get your coconut. So for those who want to do Mardi Gras right, I done gave you the agenda that you need to follow.
Okay.
And it sounds like, Sheena, we got to get you the agenda. We got to get you on schedule. We got to get you on a Mardi Gras schedule one year.
I'm not going to lie. 2025, I'm going to miss it. But I'm going to actually plan a year in advance. 2026, I'm going to be in New Orleans for, it sounds like a week. I need to be there for a week.
Yeah, at least from Thursday night, Friday morning at the latest, through, you could technically leave Tuesday night, but Wednesday morning to be safe.
Okay. 2026, I'm going to put on my calendar a year in advance.
All right.
You know, a lot of people actually associate, and a lot of people associate Mardi Gras also with Lent. Are you giving up this year?
So I am not Catholic. However, so Ash Wednesday is always the day after Mardi Gras, Tuesday. So just like any other carnival, if you're in Trinidad and Tobago, same thing, right? So yeah, that follows. If you ever want to know when Mardi Gras is, that's basically when it is, the day before Ash Wednesday.
Got it. So Cape Town, birthday. What are you doing for your birthday?
I'm doing nothing. You hear me? She and I both are Pisces.
The fact that I'm not surprised is I don't know why my face looks disappointed, because I'm not surprised at all.
Well, I also am going to be in Cape Town for like 12 days. So I feel like that is going to be my birthday celebration. And maybe I'll do like a dinner or something on my actual birthday, which is March 16th, which falls on a Sunday this year. But I'm keeping it low key. However, you have been to my birthday party. I'm like a milestone birthday person. And so for me, it's like, okay, my next birthday, when I turn 40, then I'll do something big. Or when I turn 45, I'll do something big. When I turn 50, I'll do something big. But I have friends, like shout out to my friend Kim, every year she
Huge.
does something big for her birthday. Like that is like her one day that she goes all out and she plans a year in advance. And so I respect it 100%.
Okay,
So
to this point though, I want to give her a shout out. When she does throw a party, throw an event, it is by far, it's she does not do anything on a small scale. I'll say that. So if it's birthday, wedding, if or when she does do any event, it is definitely worth going to. So that's why for her birthday, I was like, it's raining, so I'm gonna catch another flight, but I want to be there because it was definitely worth coming to. So
yeah, I'm a person, I like experiences, and I also like to give people experiences. And so if I like throw something, I like want to like make it fun or inviting and like a real experience. So I definitely am that person. But what are you gonna do for your birthday?
you know what, my schedule just changed yesterday, so I have
Mm-hmm.
no. I'm gonna figure it out. I probably go be by water somewhere, likely. So I don't.
Miami, that's a quick hop.
But I feel like I go there all the time. But I don't know.
Yes, Jamaica,
I thought about Jamaica. I did. I don't know.
Mexico. There's a lot of, and I say these places, y'all like, oh, we always do those. Honestly, if you want to buy water, I'm always about going to the closest destination.
So I don't know. I'll also hit up go to like a basketball game or something. I love sports. So even today I'm actually going to be headed to a basketball game. So, you know, unfortunately the closest NBA teams around here are when I'm in Mississippi, it doesn't work too well for me. New Orleans, I don't know what y'all got going on down there with the Pelicans.
We're on the struggle bus.
Dallas. Shout out to LeBron though. I know it's all about Luka and AD, but shout out to LeBron just because people be hating on LeBron and he's the GOAT. So yeah, I don't know.
We'll get it together. But since you mentioned sports and you mentioned Luka, we haven't talked about this. And before we end this episode, I need to get your take on Luka going to the Lakers. AD lost a lot of love from me when he left us high and dry with the Pelicans.
I'm like, you don't count because you came from the Pelicans, so it's like a thing with you when it comes to AD.
Yeah, so I mean, they could have shipped them off to Mars, and I would be like, okay.
I still think by far one of the craziest trades I've ever seen in my life, because you traded someone who is in his 20s. If you want to call he's in his prime, it's not like he's literally the face of your franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I'm gonna ship him off to the Lakers of all places.
Right.
I just still feel like there's some stuff that went on or is still going on behind the scenes that they're just not saying, because no one ships off their star player in the middle of the season.
It's true. You know what? I commented under a post, which you already know, crazy to do. I commented, "Oh, Luka is Dallas's Zion," and people was like, "Oh, I can't believe I can't believe you would disrespect us like that. That man got us to the championship. He did this. He did that." I was like, from what I've heard, he has issues with always being overweight. They say he drinks a lot, right? Always got a beer in his hand. In fact, a coach, he was getting interviewed, I think got traded, and he had a beer in his hand right after the game. And the coach came and took the drink out of his hand because he was like, dude, you still sweating. Like, this is a regular game. Why you had a beer in your hand? And so I'm curious to know if it had to do with some of that. Like he doesn't like to go to practice. So some of the things, all I was saying before I finished so many people, is that some of these issues that Zion has and that people complain about that he has that inhibits him are very similar to some of the things that people say Luka has. However, Luka has not been injured as much as Zion. If Zion were to stay healthy, he would literally probably be one of the best players in the league, like hands down. But you know, the Pelicans always get dealt a horrible hand.
I think people forget that basketball is business first. If basketball, NBA, NFL, whatever the case, if it was only about talent, if it was strictly talent, we probably wouldn't have the exact same people in the league. It's also a business. You know, probably one of the best examples I probably could give, and he talks a lot about it on his own podcast. He talked about it prior to getting a podcast. Was Carmelo Anthony. He talks about his issues in Denver and what happened, you know, how that kind of played a role in his future, even when he went to the Knicks. Basketball, any pro sports, it is a business first. I think people overlook that. Oh, he's so talented. That's true. But there's a lot of talented people out here that can play ball. But business is first. So
yeah. Well, Sheena, thank you for the update. Thank you for your sports insight. We appreciate that. And I think that's it for this episode. We are looking forward to the next episode. We're going to talk about a little about entrepreneurship and physical health. Looking forward to getting into that conversation. Any parting words?
shout out to the Pisces. All of you March Pisces. March Pisces and February Pisces are not the same. But shout out to Rihanna because I am a fan. And Rihanna, I do hope that the rumors are true and that you will be going to London because I would love to come to London just for an excuse to see you in concert. And Cowboy Carter, are you going?
I am. Okay, we can't leave yet. You just said a trigger word. You just said two trigger words. Cowboy Carter. When I tell you Ticketmaster has to be taken down, it has to be taken down ASAP. What Ticketmaster did, and I know Beyoncé had a choice. She had a choice to switch on or off dynamic pricing, and she decided to keep dynamic pricing on. But what Ticketmaster did over the course of those first days trying to get tickets to see Beyoncé should be illegal, right? You have people who literally were presented with tickets $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, $5,000. These are seats like 100, 200, 300 level seats, right? These are super fans who are not getting rewarded for purchasing their tickets. They buy the tickets, right? Fast forward, those ticket prices have now dropped significantly, almost in half. Like that should be illegal. Like you should be able to say, oh, if your ticket drops within 30 days, they should match the price of the new ticket, right? Like it's ridiculous that you are not rewarded for being super fans. And I get it. The whole TikTok, what price will you pay to see Beyonce? The price, right? That's like the running joke. I will pay the price. But when the price today is $1,000 and the price tomorrow is $500, the math does not math. And I hope Beyonce never does this again. And it's not too late. It's not too late to fix it. Beyonce is very powerful, very influential. I'm sure she can negotiate something with Ticketmaster to really make things right for those fans who essentially just got played. Like, I don't know how else to say it. So yeah. I'm going to leave that on that.
You know, it's crazy because you're correct. I remember the first day. So one of my best friends was like, hey, we're going to go in and get our tickets like immediately.
Yes.
When she tried to go in, I think she was like, I don't know, 80,000 in the queue. It was some crazy number.
I figured it was like 300,000 in the queue.
So first I was like, I don't even know if we about to get in because if you number 80,000, like it's not even 80,000 seats in this stadium. So, you know, there's that. But of course she ends up getting in. And I think the tickets that we were looking at, that she was looking at for us, because shout out to Ariel, she was like playing the whole like game of like trying to get it, and I think the tickets end up being like $1,800.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a whole conversation about it. And now when we go back and look at those exact same tickets, they're $900.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I don't think it should be legal, honestly. There has to be. And I already know they have already been like sued, right? Ticketmaster, clearly it has not stopped or changed anything. We know Ticketmaster is like one of the biggest monopolies that there is. And it probably won't change underneath this administration, but something needs to be done. We must take down Ticketmaster. First world problems, I understand, but problems nonetheless.
Well, and I know we're gonna wrap this episode up, but what did Taylor Swift spoke out about Ticketmaster, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah,
when she did her tour.
She spoke out about the bots, because essentially, like, bots would grab all the tickets and then resell them. That wasn't even, I could see that being an issue, right? Like, even though that's not a good issue, but it was even worse for Beyonce because it was kind of like they were doing it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were price gouging their fans. But make your money, girl. Make your money.
I will lie. I have a ticket. I'll be there.
Hey,
but it's coming soon. I am a fan of Beyonce, but I do think it is wrong what Ticketmaster did. So if you are someone who ended up paying $4,000 for a ticket that is now $850, I think you should do something about that and not just sit around and take it. So
yeah, I think we gotta figure it out.
So would you go see Rihanna? I mean, it's gonna be the same music.
I would go see Cowboy Carter, okay? But the point is the point. But 100%. So I saw Rihanna on her last concert tour in New Orleans. And so London, wherever you will be, Riri, I will be there, okay? Let your girl know. Let us know in the building. Sheena's going to get on the flight.
I will going to fight for that one. So do you feel a way, or would you feel a way if the tickets are $1,000 in London and you know she's only going to play clearly the music that she has because she hasn't released any new music? Are you still like,
even better? Even better. Let us familiarize ourselves with these other albums, okay? I am fine with that. But also, the less dates you have, the more costly the tickets are going to be. I get that. But there's an element to the price gouging I think has to stop. And also, people in Europe don't play that. Because if you were looking at like Renaissance tour, the European trip tour dates were the cheapest. Because European people just don't spend what we spend for tickets. Like, they just don't do it, right? But now she's kind of able to get away with that because there's just less dates. So there's more Americans going to Europe for Cowboy Carter than there was for Renaissance.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. I triggered it. We were wrapping it up. All right. So I'm sorry. My bad.
That will be all, folks. That will be all. We will end this episode. Thank you for tuning in. As always, until next time.
Deuces.